Hi, I'm Karen. We're here at Montavilla Sewing Center, and today we're talking about the Bernette B05 Academy. In this video, I'm going to show you how to wind a bobbin and thread the machine. So to start with, when you go to unthread your machine, make sure you cut your thread up here by the spool and pull the excess out at the needle. The reason for that is you always want your thread going towards the needle, not away. If you grab your spool and make a habit of pulling your machine, your thread backwards out of your machine, lint can build up in the tension disc, and you don't want that to happen. So that little bit of thread is well worth not having lint build up right there. Then, for winding your bobbin, we want to use the dotted lines. That's what the pathway we're going to use. So put that under there. Make sure it's under both of those little things. Then this is a little spring-loaded guide, and this is going to give a little bit of tension on the thread as it's winding on the bobbin, so that it winds nice and smoothly. So it's important to get it on there. Then take your thread and poke it through the side of the bobbin. There's a hole in the side of the bobbin. Both sides of the bobbin are the same. Now use the type of bobbins that come with your machine in your accessory. You want to have class 15 plastic bobbins, not metal ones, not ones that are shorter from an old machine that you have. They need to be the same size and type. And then we put this guy on here on the bobbin winding spindle. Push this over to the right. Now that engages the bobbin winding feature inside the machine. You want to make sure you have that little thread tail up towards the top. Then press on your foot control. Now notice I haven't cut this off yet. I want to have several layers of thread covering the beginning of this thread here so that it's well anchored. And then we snip this off and keep winding. Now if you just want to wind a little bit of thread on your bobbin, say you just have a fairly short piece, you do not have to fill this up, but you can. Say like if you have black or white or gray thread and you want to have a full bobbin, once you fill this up, the wraps of the thread will push against this little stopper, pushing the bobbin winder spindle back a little bit, and that will stop the mechanism from winding so you don't overwind your bobbin. So once we're done, take that off of there, make sure you push this back to the left, and snip your thread. Now, to put your bobbin into your machine, make sure that your thread is coming off the left-hand side here. If you think of it, it looks kind of like the letter P, right, like that. It's important not to have it this way. It's got to be a letter P. We put that down in there, and then there's a little notch right down in the center there. You want to slide that right into that notch, stop it from spinning, and pull it back. When you stop it from spinning, it gives a little bit of tension on the thread, and that helps it slide right down into the tension area of the bobbin case. That's important. You have tension up here on your thread, you have tension down here. If you had no tension down here, then you'd have a very loose bobbin thread, and if you see a lot of your bobbin thread on the top side when you're sewing, it could be that the bobbin thread isn't into that tension area. So I'm going to show you that again. Letter P, put that down in there, make sure that's into that slot there, then pull it like that. Then follow the little arrows around like that. I like to hang on to it, put my cover on, and then just snip it off like that. There's a little cutter right there. You can start sewing without pulling up your bobbin thread. Now if you want to pull up your bobbin thread, I'm going to show you how to do that. Pull this over here, and this time I'm not going to cut it off there, but it's still in that tension area. Let me pull it down this way. All right, so let's thread it from the top. When you put your spool on here, have your thread coming from underneath, because this is going to spiral off the end, and it spirals off without getting kinked. A little bit better if you have it coming from underneath behind like that. Put this on here. Now this is a spool cap that you can use for the kinds of spools that are like tubular. You just turn this around and poke that into the tube. The idea of the spool cap is to keep the bobbin or the spool from sliding off the spool pin. Okay, and then I usually like to give it just a little room so that these cross-wound spools like to spin a little bit when they get empty. So I want to have no tension on there at all. Push this back under there, bring it around here, pull this down. Now it's important to have your presser lever up. If you have your presser lever down, that closes those tension discs and you may not get your thread all the way down into the tension disc. So make sure it's up, pull that down like this, come around following the arrows. Make sure your take-up lever is peeking up. You don't want it down where you can't see it. So have it peeking up like that. Follow the direction of the arrow going around that way. Okay, there's extra little bit of thread. Then we want to have it into this guide right here, and then there's a little needle bar guide like that. And I like to use 2 hands to get it under there. I can kind of look. Oops. Try that again. There we go. Okay. Right, like that. Now, there is a needle threader on this machine, which is a really nice feature. I like to put the presser foot down, and as you're lowering your needle threader, put it under the little hook on the left, push this all the way down. As you can see, that kind of swivels around like that. There's a little hook there that has come through the eye of the needle from behind. Pull your thread across and right into that little fork like that. And as you're holding it, hold it taut, but not really tight. You want it to be able to slip through your fingers as you are lifting up the needle threader. Now that loop of thread, you can catch that with a pin, or just be careful not to have your foot near the foot control. The book is going to tell you turn off your machine when you do that for safety purposes, but then also you don't have the light here. Probably what I would do in general would be just to use a pin to grab that little loop. Sometimes the little loop is very small, but you want to just grab it and go. Some other times, certain needle threaders give you a nice big loop. So now I'm going to show you how to bring up your bobbin thread if you decide you want to have both threads up. Remember, you don't have to, but you can. So hold your top thread up like this, turn your hand wheel towards you, 1 revolution until you see that take-up lever come up like that. Now we have, take this off because I got too much tension on there. Now we have a loop of the bobbin thread. The way I like to grab it is put my top thread through the toes, just like I'm starting to sew, and then swipe that thread straight back, and that picks up that loop of bobbin thread. And then if your tails are too long, just cut it off like that, and there you go. So that's threading and bobbin winding on the Bernette B05 Academy. I hope you found this to be a helpful video, and if you have, give us a thumbs up. And if you have comments or questions, you can leave those in the area down below. We have other videos on this machine and lots of other machines here on our Montavilla YouTube channel, so stay tuned. Thanks for watching. Bye.